Imagine a house, lavish, majestic, and standing, isolated on a misty hill. This is no ordinary house. This is Blackwood Manor. One winter night in 1924, an event occurred here. An event that not only wiped out a family, but also erased the line between sanity and insanity. The police were called after neighbors reported hearing banging sounds coming from inside the manor. However, when they broke down the front door, they found no signs of a struggle. The dining room was neatly arranged, as if waiting for dinner to begin. The chairs were perfectly arranged. On the table, a candle was still half lit, illuminating the still warm remains of the meal. Where are they? Where did the Millers go without taking anything? The only thing odd is that all the clocks in the house went off at exactly the same time. And a suffocating silence. A silence that seemed alive. This is the beginning of the mystery we will unravel today. A secret experiment hidden behind breathing walls.
Blackwood Manor wasn't always silent. Long before the Miller family moved in, the manor was built in the late 19th century by Dr. Alistair Blackwood. He was no ordinary doctor. Blackwood was a forensic acoustician, obsessed with sound waves and how they affect the human psyche. He spent years traveling the world, collecting strange artifacts and studying ancient texts about resonant frequencies that could supposedly induce fear or even obedience. He believed that sound was the key to controlling the human mind. This obsession grew into madness after the death of his wife and child in a freak accident. Local villagers began to avoid the manor. They told stories of lights coming on in the basement at odd hours, and unearthly sounds like muffled screams or disembodied whispers emanating from within the brick walls when the night breeze blew. The Miller family's disappearance remained unsolved for over 60 years. Until 1985, when a local historian named Eleanor Vance, researching the manor's architecture, discovered an anomaly in the original blueprints. There were large, unexplained voids stretching between the manor's main walls, from the basement to the attic. These spaces were too narrow to be bedrooms, but too large to be simply insulators. Eleanor suspected these were secret passageways. After months of negotiations with the menace, Eleanor was allowed to investigate. Bring in recording equipment and a torch. She tore down the wood paneling behind the dining room fireplace. crumbling layers of wood and brick, she discovered a labyrinth. Narrow, dingy hallways filled with crisscrossing copper pipes, strange valves, and walls coated with a strange substance like decaying organic fibers. Eleanor then discovered the source of the echoes that had been haunting the manor. Deep in the passageway, she discovered a hexagonal room filled with old phonographs and large copper horns built directly into the wall structure. These horns were all connected to a central system powered by underground water currents. This was no mere passageway. Blackwood Manor was a giant, mechanical musical instrument designed to amplify and transmit specific frequencies to every corner of the house. Blackwood's diary, found there, confirmed our worst fears. He wasn't just recording sounds. He was conducting resonance experiments on patients from the local asylum, whom he kidnapped through the underground passageway. He tortured them with sound, recording their fear and pain and playing it back through the manor's walls to study the effects of fear frequencies on its inhabitants. The sounds the villagers heard weren't imaginary. They were suffering on a constant loop. But the discovery of the tunnel and the machine wasn't the most horrifying thing Eleanor Vance discovered at Blackwood Manor. In the darkest corner of the basement, buried under an inch of dust, Eleanor discovered a locked safe. Inside, a series of phonograph wax reels were stored, labeled with Roman numerals and a single word, resonance. When Eleanor played the tape in the forensics lab, what she heard changed the entire perspective of the case. It wasn't just a recording of screams. It was a recording of Dr. Blackwood speaking, his voice calm yet filled with a cold madness. He was documenting what he called sound transmutation. In the final recording, dated exactly the night before the Millers disappeared, Blackwood claimed to have discovered a frequency that could open doors within the atomic structure. He no longer wanted to torture humans. He wanted to transport them into a sound dimension. His final experiment was not to kill the Millers, but to make them a permanent part of the manor's architecture. The police never found their bodies because, theoretically, they had decomposed into vibrations that were now trapped forever within the brick and wood walls. So, what happened to the Miller family in 1924? Evidence suggests that Dr. Blackwood, in his madness, had managed to create a very specific resonant frequency, a death tone, capable of breaking down the molecular structure of water in the human body if exposed to it for prolonged periods. The leading theory is that Blackwood's central system, which had been dormant for years, was suddenly reactivated by the underground flood that winter night. It played back Blackwood's last recording, a pure frequency of unbearable pain. The Millers, trapped inside the house, had no chance. They might have been crushed, or vaporized, or become part of the wall itself. Now, Blackwood Manor has fallen silent once more. Eleanor Vance's expedition has stopped the cursed machine. However, some historians believe that sound never truly dies. It simply loses its energy and continues to echo through the universe. To this day, no one dares to occupy Blackwood Manor. Some secrets are meant to be buried, but those who have visited swear when the night is truly silent, you can still hear the slow heartbeat of a heart behind the walls. An echo that will never be erased from the dark history. Thanks for watching, and be sure to lock your door tonight.